welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love!
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week, guys. And like we always say, what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's
hot topic?
That's it.
I thought we would talk about childhood today.
Childhood.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bit childish, me spinning around the chair like that one.
Well, a little bit, but at the same time, a bit of a laugh, a bit funny and a bit of a laugh, you know what I mean?
I love it, you know, I think like there's certain things, I feel like there's certain things that you've got to grow up in.
Yeah.
Mature in, but I think it's alright to be a child. I don't think anyone should grow up really. I think it's a problem with society. They think they've got to sort of grow up and not be a child anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what you know, I think we're the same person really, aren't we? You know, it's like they say as you get older you go to second childhood. You know, so I'm quite looking forward to that really. You know, you know, your childhood after all just becomes a little memory. More, you know, after all, doesn't it? You know, to me, my childhood, I just got to remember what it was or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so I think like we've all got a different childhood.
Yeah.
Like my brother, he's got a different childhood to me. But we lived in, you know,
under the same roof, same parents, same.
Yeah, you know, I think like we've all got slightly different interests. Through life, you know, where my brother is a bit more into football, and I think you were where I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, but I think children are, you know, me personally now I'm an adult, and I've got 3 children of my own. I love children, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they're little born stars, really. You know, I think every child really that's born are very magical.
Oh, definitely. They bring a lot of joy and a lot of love and a lot of noise to the household. You know, noise in a good way. You know, when I say noise, I don't mean that in like you know, with a bad connotation associated with it. They just make things lively, I guess is the better word really than noise. But they also, you know, they do uplift you definitely every day, waking up and just. Especially as a parent, you know, anyone that's got kids and, you know, it's been in their kids' life, whether it be a short amount of time or all their lives, they know that just seeing that smile every day, when they wake up and they see you and that smile they give you, happy to see you and happy to, you know, just thankful, you know. It's lovely, it's wonderful.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I think it's one of the most beautiful things in life, really. You know, again, you know, I mean, I can remember my childhood. I can also remember now, because my children are grown up, all 3 of them now. Yeah. I can remember my children's childhood too. You know, my memories, a lot of them too. Yeah. And it's quite nice, really. You know that I mean, I split up with my wife when my daughter was 6 years old and my son was 10. Okay. So I spent quite a lot of time with my children really before it went all wrong for me. Yeah. And you know, I was playing chess with both of them sometimes. You know, I was teaching my daughter how to play chess. You know, she was 6 or 5, and she could play actually. Do you know what I mean? She could pick things. She was quite a clever, you know, smart girl, whatever. You know. Anyway, you know, I lost it. You know, because it all went wrong, and it is sad. It hurts. Do you know what I mean? Because I love my children and they love me. Yeah. And it kind of tore them apart. It hurt them. I think. You know, losing me. But what can you do? You know, it's life today. Do you know what I mean? And as long as the children are healthy, really, and eating well, and they're not, you know, in trouble, you've not really got much to worry about in life. Do you know what I mean? You've done your job, really. You know. Yeah. I just feel like both my children, you know, kind of died at me at that age. And even to this day, I don't see him much, you know, because of the circumstances I've gone through, all the court cases, you know. It's been very difficult for all of us, but I think one day they're going to come back, you know, once they grow up and mature a bit, you see. Yeah. You know. Yeah. You know, at that age, they find things very difficult to to understand, and plus they've got their own, you know, they're trying to deal with their own lives at that age.
Yeah, definitely.
And trying to sort of go to college or whatever, you know, to try to get their life sorted out. But once they settle down, I just feel like they sort of, you know, they come back and, you know, basically mother had told them not to see me anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's a bit nasty myself, you know, because I had custody of them.
Yeah.
And she said, no.
Well, not full custody though, did you? You had like
I didn't have full. I was just a part-time, you know.
Like you had like an agreement,
every weekend.
like an agreement. Yeah.
You know, yeah. It's all arranged with the courts, you know. I had them every other weekend, basically.
It's not very many days when you really think about it. That's only 4 days out of a potential 30 every month. That's 4 days out of 30 every month. It's not a lot, is it?
Yeah, well, it's a nightmare, you know, because I was working.
Well, I just don't see how, because it's funny though, because that system still seems to exist today. Because I'm on holiday at the moment from work, but about a week or so ago, longer than that, about 3 weeks ago roughly, there was an agency chef at work filling in for someone at work, and I just, you know, we just started having a conversation because obviously he's the agency chef and I, you know, was at work and I had to, you know, we just communicating whatever. But he was telling me a very similar story about, you know, him and his partner separating and they've got a little boy. And he said he had to fight like hell to get custody and it took a long time to go through the courts and everything else before he could actually see him. Even though he was always present, the only reason she didn't want him to see the child anymore is because she felt a bit vindictive towards him because they weren't together anymore. And she obviously wanted to get back with him and he didn't want to, if you see what I mean. He didn't want to get back with her. And she obviously decided she was going to be a bit spiteful because of that, if you see what I mean, and, you know, make his life a bit difficult, you know. And basically he said, yeah, he only sees his son like 4 days a week. 4 days out of every month, like every other weekend. Like he gets to see him, you know, Saturday, Sunday, every other weekend. That's only 4 days out of 30. And I just think, how can the courts deem that to be enough time?
Well, I just feel like, first, you know, I've had experience with the courts, alright, because I went through the family courts myself. You know, I had 6 court cases. It was like over 2 years as well, you know, which is absolutely ridiculous. It should take 1 week. Yeah. You know, I just think it should be simple, you know, let them see Dad. Yeah. Because they wanted to see me. Of course, just Mum said no. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm a bit of a party animal, you know. Yeah. I think maybe, yeah, because I used to drink a little bit, but, you know, I'm still a good dad. You know, only because I drank a little bit, you know, but I was still responsible. It's not like I went out drinking to the pubs, okay, and leaving my children to it, because I had a little drink sometimes when I, you know, not too heavy, you know. Yeah. But I gave up all my drinks 7 years ago, you know. I am slowly getting mature, you know. I mean, I started drinking when I was a child. Yeah. Honestly, you know, because well, I was born in 1965, but in the 70s there was a lot of parties around here, you know, in those days, you know, a lot more than today. Yeah. You know, and I feel like the drink, even the alcohol, was a lot cheaper. Yeah. Well, everything was. Well, yeah, and tobacco and cigarettes, you know, it was just so cheap, you know. I can remember a packet of cigarettes, you know, 20 cigarettes, what cost them 50p. Yeah. You know, and I just think, you know, they've obviously sort of pushed the prices right up now. And they've done, you know, tripled or whatever, you know, to try to stop people.
Well, that's what it is. Apparently, the current government that's in place, Rishi Sunak, or whatever his name is, the current Prime Minister of the UK, Rishi Sunak, and his party, I can't remember what, you know, I think he's Conservative anyway, I think, you know, I could be wrong, but I can't remember. But basically, he wants to follow the same module that, I think, is it Australia or New Zealand? It's either Australia or New Zealand. One of them have implemented by the year 2030. They're going to introduce a rule essentially where if you've born after a certain year, you can never buy cigarettes. If you see what I mean. If you're born after a certain year, you're ineligible. Sorry, is the word I was looking for. In order to buy.
I just feel like they've got to do something, alright? Because when it's there in the shops, people buy it. Yeah. You know, it's something else to buy, isn't it? If it wasn't there, nobody would buy it in a kind of way, you know. And I feel like if it wasn't there, all these things, like I must admit, I smoke, I enjoy it. Don't drink anymore, but I do enjoy smoking. But I think, like, if it wasn't there in the first place, I wouldn't have been buying it.
But there's a fine. But at the same time, I agree with you. And yes, probably what they're doing is probably for the best going forward for society, health-wise, and it won't cost the healthcare system as much money in terms of, illnesses related to smoking and drinking.
It's not just illnesses, it's responsibility too, isn't it? You know, like...
It is, but at the same time, it's that fine line of... If you're an adult, you should be able to you're free to make your choices. Informed choices.
Of course you
are.
See
what I mean?
Of course, but there's too many bad choices out there, if you sort of mean. You know, and I just feel like, okay, when, you know, it's okay to drink and go out, really, if you haven't got any children yet. You know, and you've never had any children, you know. And I think that, you know, because you're responsible for yourself and not anyone else. But once you have children, you've got a responsibility for somebody else, you see.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're going out for a drink, okay, even getting a babysitter, you're neglecting them. You're neglecting them as a parent and not being with them anymore, do you know what I mean? You know, a long time ago, you didn't have all these pubs to do this, you know, you had to be with your child until they left, you know what I mean? Until they left the nest, you know, they were with you. You know, and this is before schools and all this, you know, and schools come along and kind of like separated and everything in a kind of way, you know. Now you've got to learn, your language. Now you've got to learn to talk.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like, because we learn to talk, we've learned to argue as well, and fall out, and go to war, if you see what I mean. You know, where a lot of animals, they've not created a language to fall out from each other, you know, and they just get on, if you see what I mean. But because we invented a language, because you think about it, a lot, especially children, because we're talking about children today, they get very hurt by just one word.
Yeah.
Just one word can hurt them, do you know what I mean? That's the funny thing, isn't it? Like a word can hurt someone's feelings, where really at the end of the day it's only a word.
Yeah.
And we've all got like different, I think, you know, it's like these swear words, really bad ones sometimes. Some people might find them offensive and some people don't. You know, I just feel like we've all got a different opinion about words a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And an understanding of them too, which is very important, I think. Like, for instance, love.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people use it and they don't know what it is, you know, what it means, or they use it too much, or the wrong word that, you know, they should use like more.
I think people use the word, especially like you're saying, a lot of people use certain words too freely, like love and friend and lots of different words that people use.
At the end of
people
the day,
use freely, but without. It's gotten to the point where kind of certain words have lost the significance, if that makes sense. Where they don't mean as much. They don't mean as much as they used to because people just use it so freely that the actual association now to that word is very minuscule, if you see what I mean. You know.
I find that most people, even myself, and I expect you do, okay, I do enjoy talking. A lot of people enjoy talking, but a lot of people talk about nonsense, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's why I don't. You know,
I
was gonna say I enjoy talking, but
they're not on an intelligence mind.
Exactly.
Level, if you sort of mean. You know, they're talking about things that we know already, like the weather, you know, or if you see what I mean, or they talk because they like talking, but they don't know what they're talking about or whatever. You know, they've got no education whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people. You know, like I said, there's all kinds of people out there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like me, for instance, I've always been a bit of a thinker since a child. You know, I've said before, I was an artist.
Yeah.
I loved art, and I loved animals and things, you know, and I always loved birds, But then I've slowly in time feel like over the last 10 years, especially, I've become a philosopher. You know, and I really, really enjoy philosophy a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so much that, you know, when you asked me to do this show, I thought, you know, we're doing it, you know. And this is why you know, I feel like, you know, I'm not the wisest person in the world, you know, and I don't know everything, you know, and I don't want to, you know everything, you know. I really want to be careful in the future, you know.
Yeah.
About what I want to learn in the future, you know. You only want to really learn about the most important things in life, I feel, you know, about what's going to sort of like educate you, you know, sort of, or lift, you know, sort of give you a better understanding in a kind of way. And I just feel like with philosophy, there's just, you know, no philosophy at school, and I just feel like it's the most important subject of all subjects, much more important than maths, I think, than science. Okay, they are important subjects. I think philosophy is the, you know, like if all the children, you know, if we had a philosophy at school, all the children would be leaving school educated. And like I said, there'd be no crime, you know. So if you want to tackle crime, you just need to educate people early.
Yeah.
If anything, you know, with philosophy. You know, and philosophy is like teaching a child how to love themselves and love the children, you know.
Yeah.
And this is all not all being lost at school, if you ask me, you know. Like, I mean, like my experience at school, they were telling me to cut up pig size and things, you know, and all this kind of stuff. And I really did not want to know. You know, learn about it. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things I did want to learn about, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm one of these people that, you know, some people think I know it all, and they think they know it all, but I don't know it all, do you know what I mean? And I've got a lot to learn in life still.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot, you know. I mean, basically, I'm nearly 58 soon, whatever. And the time I'm 80, say, I'm hoping to be a lot wiser than I am today in a lot of things, you know. I feel pretty wise, you know, but I just feel like, I mean, that's a lot of time, isn't it? Even when you think about another year, what we're going to learn, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's up to you really, isn't it? What you do in the next few years or something.
Yeah, what you spend your time doing and focusing on.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even a teacher, yeah? An art teacher?
Yeah.
A maths teacher, yeah? Or a science teacher or an English teacher or whatever. If a teacher's got no philosophy, they're not a very good teacher.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
You know, because if they don't understand philosophy, they're not going to be a very good teacher. No matter wherever they're teaching art or whatever, you know. And it's like, I feel like a lot of young children are leaving school today, yeah, and they've been stuck in classrooms where they don't really want to be. They just want to be on the playground and enjoy their childhood, for goodness sake, you know. I feel schools are kind of like stalling people's childhood, if you ask me, you know. You get to the age of 5 and they say, that's it, you're not allowed to play.
Yeah.
It's like me, when I was young, yeah, I used to love, because my mum and dad divorced, right? But at that age, you don't
realise,
you know, you're not, you're just, you know, you're new to the world, you know, you don't care, you know, don't even know you got a mum and dad in the kind of
either way, yeah.
You know, and then anyway, they separated and I went to live with my nan and granddad, you know, and they had, you know, my aunties were living there, you know, they were all looking after me, whatever, and some of them had children, and it was like a playground in the garden, you know, it was really beautiful. And we had really, really good fun there, you know, we were playing games, you know. And by the time I was 5, it's sort of like, no, it's time to go to school now, you know, you're not allowed to do that anymore, you know, and it's...
Time to get serious.
We'd only have to look forward to the weekends so we can get together a little bit, do you know what I mean? And Christmas time, you know, and it's kind of like stalling.
Yeah.
You know, my childhood, because like I've said before, I really did not like school, full stop, on the first years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you wouldn't like it if you were being locked up by a teacher. You know, and that's what I mean, you get bad teachers out there, and that's the problem, right? You get bad teachers, okay, they might be good at art, yeah, and they're an art teacher, yeah, but they might be locking up a kid in the cupboard because they've got no philosophy. You with me? You know, and this is completely what's, if you ask me, philosophy is important.
Yeah.
You know, you know, and it confuses me why it's not taught at school.
Yeah.
You know, why isn't it a subject, if you see what I mean, you know? And I think, like, if children, because I feel like children do need to be educated, okay? They do need to go to school, but I think 5's been a much too early to end your childhood. I think, you know, children maybe should sort of reach to the age about 10, maybe, when they got, because by that age you got a little bit of a mind of your own.
Yeah.
You know, you can choose what you want to do in life in a kind of way, you know, and I just think they're getting all the children too young.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you take my, for instance, yeah, my life, yeah. So my mum and dad divorced, alright, my mum was struggling. So she had to go to work, alright, and she couldn't really live with my mum, okay, because the house was full, so she had to go and live somewhere else, alright. Leave me with her nan.
Yeah.
You know, my nan, sorry. And I didn't really hardly see my mum, you know, and then I had to go to school and she had to go to work, you know, it's like, oh, I haven't got a mum anymore, you know. It's like, I don't see her anymore, do you know what I mean? And in a kind of way, it breaks all the bonds.
It does,
you know,
to a degree,
these bonds are very important, you know. And it's like when we had that shutdown a few years years ago, I thought it was really nice seeing children together, you know, with their families, you know.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people couldn't go to work, you know, because they had to look after their children.
Had to do the homeschooling and everything.
But I feel like the truth is, that's the way the world should be, in a kind of way. You know, like I've said before, a few hundred years ago, most people were farmers.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like everyone's got sacked today, you know, it's like everybody's been taken away from the farm, and the cows and the pigs and all that kind of stuff, and the chickens and the ducks, yeah. That world completely gone, and it's kind of like, this is the new world order, you know. You go and visit a farm now,
yeah.
You know, or go and buy your chickens in an egg, you know, in the shop and kind of in the supermarket, you know. So the world is altered, you know. Even computers, as we were talking about in previous subjects, has altered our world.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For children too.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, your daughter goes on the computer. My daughter used to too. You know, and this is the generation that is actually getting brought up in the technical, digital world.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Their minds are becoming digital too, in a funny way, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And I feel like children are not playing outside so much; they're more playing indoors.
Yeah, yeah.
These days, you know, so I feel that's a big change to today's reality, if you see what I mean. Or the world's reality.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember my childhood and I loved it, you know, some of it, you know, apart from the school moments. You know, personally. I mean, I did have some good times.
Of course you did, yeah.
But, to be honest, I didn't like being there, you know.
Yeah, same.
From the word dot.
Same. I was pretty much the same, mate. I had I
had a bit of a stubborn, like, you know, I was a bit, like, angry because I was there, you know what I mean? Like, I was rebelling, you know. Yeah. Where most children were, you know, most children weren't locked on the cupboard like me, do you know what I mean? Yeah. At an early age, you know, do you know what I mean? It does change your mentality when someone abuses you like that. Yeah, well, yeah. And that's the trouble, a lot of children do get abused in one way or another. Today, and always, you know. When children, they can't really say much. That's the problem, you know, until they get older. Yeah.
But thankfully there are a lot more things in place today to protect children today. But I must say as well, at the same time, there are a lot of agencies out there that are set up to, you know, under the guise of protecting vulnerable people and children and other things. But sometimes it's these people that are taking the most advantage of these people as well, if you see what I mean, you know. And not only that, but sometimes neglect happens as well. Even a few years ago, it was all over the papers and all over the media, well, the English media and the newspapers, whatever, of a few people. I think it was in Leicester, say for example. I think it was in Leicester that happened. There was like a numerous amount of people that had basically made accusations and, you know, basically come forward and say, you know, we were under these people's care or whatever the case may be, and they basically abused us physically, sexually, you know, all sorts of things, all sorts of terrible, awful things that they had to endure, apparently. And they basically made all these complaints towards all the right people, did everything that they thought was necessary in order to, you know, for them to be heard and for these, you know, people to investigate and do all these various different things. But it basically, they got ignored for like, I don't know, like a number of years, if you see what I mean. And it took them about 5 years eventually altogether to eventually investigate and realise that it was like a large group of people that were doing these things. Apparently it was like, I can't remember, like 15 to 18 people altogether that they arrested, I think, in connection with all the abuse and everything else that was going on. But it just goes to show too, sometimes that happens too. People, you actually get people that come forward and make, you know, say, you know, this is what's going on and this is what's happening, and, you know, it's happened to me and I've seen it happen to other people, and, you know, but they get ignored.
But yeah, I mean, even a lot of weirdos out there today, you know, like that got no idea about children. They do bad things to them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They're being uneducated. I mean, this is all down to education. It really is. You know, I'm a person that personally believes in there's not really any evil in the world. There is, all right, but there's only evil in the world because people are not educated, basically.
But I think there is though, mate, because there are people that are educated, mate, that know right from wrong, but they still do evil. They get a sick. You got some people that get a sick thrill. Some sick.
Maybe only because they've done something nasty, or
they get some kind of like high off of it. They get some kind of sick adrenaline rush, or sick high off of harming other people or other things, or you know what I mean, committing atrocious kind of crimes. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes one person, really, doesn't it, to ruin 100 people in a party. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just get one person can ruin a whole party, basically, or ruin a lot of people's day, basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's like those twin Darrens. Do you know what I mean? It's nasty, isn't it? It's kind of intelligence, isn't it? But evil at the same time.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Well,
like,
yeah.
You know, like, what the hell's going on here? Because, you know, we're living in a world where everyone's trying to bring up their children, you know, and be the best mother and father they possibly can. And I mean, all around the world, alright, we're quite devastated about that day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like they shot it all around the world that day. Do you know what I mean? On purpose or something to show the world.
Yeah.
For everyone to get, you know, it's kind of like a nasty crime. You know, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But can you? I know it's nasty, alright, but sometimes to do something like that can make things better in a funny way. You know, like I can't explain it, alright. Like some you know, because I've studied about terrorism a bit, you know, and some people have done good things from terrorism. Basically, it's like a lady, alright. For instance, I think she was in the 50s or 40s, alright. She was really against sort of like horses being treated the way they did, do you know what I mean? And what she did, when the king himself was in the Grand National, she put her and took her life. And he fell, and the horse sort of like broke his legs and everything. It's on the news, do you know what I mean? But she put it in the spotlight, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they improved the condition there and all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Well, I was just going to say, it didn't really make a huge amount of difference though, did it, really? If you think about it, horse racing's still been going on for how long? Still going on today.
Yeah, but she did something, right? I can't remember what her name was, right? But she did something for women.
Yeah.
Okay. She got women's working rights. That's what she did.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And she only got that by... I think she was doing a big sort of like protest with a lot of women. And then she took her life. And then it was in the news, and then she got her deal.
Okay.
With women's rights. So she did a lot for women.
Okay.
Okay. And she only did it by a terrorism act in a funny way, you know, because I was reading about it.
Yeah.
So she got something signed over in Parliament, a document or something to give women working rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember her name that personally, right?
Yeah.
But we're not talking about childhood there, really, are we? We're talking about, you know, terrorism for some reason.
Yeah.
You know. But, you know, like we're talking about, like, some people do nasty things, don't they?
They do, unfortunately, you know.
You know, some children, you know, because we are talking about children today, you know, children can be cruel. I know this, you know, and especially if they're not being brought up properly, or if they ain't got two educated parents, or if they're not being educated